for the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101 ESPN.
Puck dropped at center ice, and Tampa is going to get it to the far wing. They'll put that one down into the corner, and they roll it around to the near wing. Battling out of the near side with it is Pontus Holmberg as they go to the line with it. There's a shot from Radish, deflected in the slot and scored. 21 seconds into the first period. The Tampa Bay Lightning score here tonight. Head fake far wing, one-timer wide of the goal, flat off the glass, deadens the puck. Kucherov again, another one. That's blocked by Thomas. Radish to Kucherov, another one-timer. Head save, left leg of Binnington. The battle for the puck behind the net. Recovered there by Gensel to Kucherov. He's got it top of the circle. They go to Gensel. Kucherov again to the slot. All alone there was Point. Good stick. Tucker knocked it wide. Another slapper. Deflected in and scored. Might have gone off the skate of Justin Falk right in front of the net. And one too many one-timers for the Lightning. Breakthrough 2-0 Tampa. The puck comes around to the near wing. There's the Lightning go to center. Blues break it up, but they don't clear it out. Deflected. Puck in and scores. The failed clear. And it bites you in the rear. Lightning on top, 3-1. Cirelli the goal for Tampa.
Just a brutal way to end it for the Blues. A brutal game in the sense of feeling like you were building some momentum, in the sense of you feeling like, hey, maybe you could end this. You could end this stretch of an underwhelming start to the year, end it on a positive note. And the opposite of that one tonight for the Blues is they just did not come out with that same push like they had against the Florida Panthers. Tampa eliminated any offensive surge that the Blues were trying to create, and on top of it, a rough night for St. Louis in their own end, in an area that I think they've been playing extremely well in this season defensively, but just another letdown of a game in front of Jordan Binnington. By no means do I look at this as a bad game for Jordan Binnington. I know people will see it and say 4 goals going in on Binnington, but once again, a night that the team left him out to dry and made this game sure that it wasn't 6 or 7-1 by the start of the third period. Welcome everyone into our extended post-game coverage on your home for the Blues 101 ESPN. It's the fourth period. Along with Jordan Deacon, I'm Alex Ferrario. As we got lots to get into, we're going to have our soundbite of the night coming up in just a bit. We're going to hear from Jim Montgomery, hopefully from Tampa, and we're going to do a little bit things differently tonight because I know Chris Kerber, going into the holiday break, loves getting to spread a special message that means a lot to him. So we are going to push back our post-game breakdown with Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale so he can have that final thought for you going into the holiday break. So we'll hear from Jim Montgomery coming up in our next segment, but let's jump right into it now and get tonight's Ted Drew's 3 takeaways.
It's time for tonight's 3 takeaways.
Let it snow.
Presented by Ted Drew's Christmas Trees, where tradition tastes great and the holidays feel right at home.
This one's a frustrating one. My first takeaway tonight is it looked like the polar opposite team. It was a Jekyll and Hyde scenario once again. And I think this is why so many people are hesitant to jump on board when things are going well for the Blues. Man, you played such a solid game against Florida. You came out as the aggressors. You went after them. You pushed offensively. You went to the right spots in the middle of the ice, and you did not allow pretty much anything to that Panthers offense. And tonight was the polar opposite. Some bad turnovers in your own end that led to goals. Some poor zone defense that led to secondary and third and fourth and fifth and sixth chances to shoot. Penalty kill struggled in this one against Tampa. It just wasn't the same team that we saw against the Florida Panthers. And maybe that's just the bottom line of the struggles that the Blues have had this season. One game, they look like they're a team that could be dangerous. The next, they just look flat, and that's what tonight was. And that's where I think the frustration really comes into play because, you know, we talked about this with Joe in pregame to where, you know, I said, you know, what's a game like this like? And he said, these are games, and he had the conversation with Jake Neighbors that said, this is a game where you empty the tank. And why wouldn't it be? When you have the chance to get back to 500, when you have the chance to at least lift the spirits of the team and the fan base after a really sluggish start to the year, going up against a really good Tampa team, but also a banged-up Tampa team, and a Tampa team that had 3 wins in their last 10, and also didn't have their best defenseman on the ice in Victor Hedman. And to me, this was far from emptying the tank. I mean, Joey and Curbs mentioned it, you know, out of your top 6, they had a combined 4 shots on goal. In the first 2 periods, your top 6 had 4 shots on goal, and they came from 2 players, Jake Neighbors, Pavel Buchnevich. Now, as this game ended, they did get a shot from a couple of others on that top line, like Jonathan Berggren had a shot on goal. Otto Stenberg had a shot attempt in this one. But for the 24 shots on goal that the Blues had, Robert Thomas had 0. Pavel Buchnevich had 2. Jake Neighbors had 2. So there's 4 on your top line. Berggren with 1, that's 5. And then you go from there. Dalibor Dvorsky had 3 shots on goal, so that's 8. And that's it. 8 shots from your top 6. There were 12 shots from your defensive group. That's not going to cut it. And offensively, that's where it felt underwhelming for the Blues. Now, the third period got better. I mean, they possessed the puck 83% of the time, 3 high-danger scoring chances, 7 total scoring chances at 5-on-5, but once again, just unable to find the back of the net. And that's the part that I just won't hear of. Well, look at the manpower that we're down, the offense that those guys provide. You scored 6 goals on the Florida Panthers, and I don't know if I'd hear that Tarasov is the backup goaltender. He's been better than Bobrovsky this season. And that Florida Panthers team was healthy, at least on the defensive side. So a disappointing way to end this stretch for the Blues. Second takeaway for me was Jordan Binnington. And again, I think a lot of people are going to see it and say, how are you going to have a takeaway, a positive one about Binnington when he gave up 4 goals? I mean, look at the goals tonight. Holmberg, his shot deflected, standing in front of the net, nobody around him, and he just is able to get the tip on. That's been a major problem for the Blues this season. Guys that are just standing in front and able to just make the easy deflection without any contention. I think I just made that word up. Contesting. I totally made congestion. Sounds like congestion, which kind of sounds like what I sound like right now. The Radish goal, power play. They had 6. The Blues touched the puck 6 times on that penalty kill, on that first goal that they scored. 6 times. And were unable to clear the puck out of the zone. And don't come at me with Tampa's got an overwhelming power play. They were 23rd in the National Hockey League. You had chances to clear the puck out of the zone, and you failed to do so. And what happened? They took multiple point shots on Jordan Binnington, and it bounces off of Justin Falk's skate. And I'm not going to blame the guy who was boxing out his player. It bounces off of his skate and into the back of the net, though. The Cirelli goal, the ability to clear the puck gets out of the reach of the forward, and it stays in the zone, and the shot from the blue line beats Jordan Binnington with multiple screens. Like, you just can't do that. You know, I wish I could isolate it. It might be a project for me to do tonight before tomorrow's BK Ferrario show. I'd love to isolate the lack of goal scored with Binnington and net, because the offensive support for Jordan Binnington has just been not there. Now, I could argue the offensive support has not been there all season for Joel Hofer, but on top of that, it's just the zone coverage defensively is polar opposite of what we saw against the Florida Panthers the other night. And then the third takeaway for me, is Otto Stenberg. And here comes positive Ferrario again after a loss that I'm not upset about, and that's another game where he picked up a point. You know, Berggren had a quiet night tonight, a disappointing night, as he was a -2, only had 2 shot attempts, 1 on goal, had 2 hits and 1 giveaway. Only played 14:57, so I would assume that line might be changed up the next time we see the Blues back on ice. But, man, Stenberg just continues to play the certain way. You know, Jim Montgomery made the comp to Jesper Bratt in terms of, like, the ceiling of what Stenberg could be. And I was texting with Mike McKenna, and, man, you just see it. His eyes are always up. He sees where he's going with the puck before it happens. And what I loved about the goal that was scored by Justin Falk, yes, Stenberg picked up the assist, but immediately when he passes that puck to Tyler Tucker, he didn't even think. He went to the front of the net, stood in the middle of the crease on Vondrei Vasilevsky, and screened the goaltender. So Stenberg's game has been very noticeable when he's out there. Also had 4 hits tonight, had a takeaway and a blocked shot. I thought it was an all-around great game for the young forward of the St. Louis Blues, Otto Stenberg. So those are my takeaways. As always, we want to hear yours. 314-399-9646. You can also send them over on our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. So before we go any further, we'll hit the soundbite of the night coming up in our next segment. And Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale are going to have our final look tonight. Let's hear from Jim Montgomery.
It's time to hear from the head coach, Jim Montgomery, presented by Fisher Window and Door Store, offering quality American-made Marvin windows and doors. Visit their showrooms in Brentwood or East Alton, Illinois.
Well, coming away 1-1 against these 2 elite teams, you take it. But, we're a result-oriented, driven league, and tonight's game, we saw what an elite team plays like for 60 minutes, how they support pucks, how they battle for pucks, and how they execute in all 3 zones with and without the puck.
Justin Falk says it's a measuring stick game and kind of gave you an idea of what you need to do.
Yeah, I think we made strides here in the last 10 days, and we're playing more consistent competitive hockey. And I think right now, with our record, we're not happy, obviously, but we're fortunate to be within striking distance still of playoffs. So, we get refreshed. We keep building on what we've been doing here for the past 10 days and keep getting better. And that's the most important thing, that we start having a foundation of habits, details, and structure that's going to allow us to get to the level that we saw Tampa Bay at tonight.
Justin Falk continues to play well. He's now tied for the team lead in goals. Just what has he given you in this stretch?
Well, he's been, really good all year long. I thought tonight he was by far our best player. I thought he was inspiring with how he was skating and winning battles and shooting pucks and making things happen out there. You want to make things happen when you're on the ice, and he made a lot happen tonight.
The schedule's been so compact. I think you've played 11 games in the last 19 days. Now you're going into a break of 4 days. Just how big is that for you guys to be able to reset? You haven't gotten any rest lately.
Yeah, it's going to be important. I'm sure everyone's going to sleep in late tomorrow because your brain can finally shut off because you don't have work to do and show up at the rink for 4 days. But we will get better with our every facet of our game, but really, we had a break last year and we came back with a different attitude, and that's what we're going to have to do this year. So make sure we come back with a different attitude and we're all in it, pushing each other to get better.
We'll see if they come back with that attitude after the break as the Blues fall to the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-1 tonight. Let's take our break. We'll come back and we'll have our soundbite of the night, and Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale will have the final look with their post-game breakdown. 4-1 the final. Alex Ferrario with you in our Circa Sports broadcast studios. This is St. Louis Blues hockey. Alex Ferrario back with you to talk about my friends out at Classic Air Care. And this time of the year is when your HVAC system's doing a lot of the work. It's hot, it's cold, it's hot, it's cold. What's going on? That HVAC system is thinking the exact same thing. It's why you need to pick the right people that can take care of it, and that's Classic Air Care. They've been making people comfortable since 1926. They've been making my home comfortable since 2016. Use them today. The one thing that they preach is the maintenance program that they offer. It's how you maintain those older units maintenance to keep them going full-time for you. And they also have something called a super tune-up where you get both the air conditioner and furnace maintenance in the year. So you could check it out online, schedule there, classicaircare.com, or you could give them a call. Make sure you check in on this. They've got incredible customer service. The technicians are very knowledgeable with the work they do. I promise you will be very pleased with the work Classic Air Care provides. Do me a favor, tell them Alex Ferrario sent you. Classic Air Care and classicaircare.com.
To be nothing short of perfect. Come see for yourself.
Welcome back to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company on 101 ESPN.
Final time tonight here on our extended postgame show, the fourth period on your home for the Blues, 101 ESPN, along with Jordan Deacon. I'm Alex Ferrario. So I was looking at this. You know, the Blues go into the Christmas break 14, 16, and 8. Now, if you look at it as the 8 overtime and shootout losses combined with the 16 regulation losses, you're 14 and 24. But the way they divvied up, 14, 16, and 8. So I was curious, the last time that the Blues went in to a Christmas break below 500. Surprisingly, or not surprisingly, I guess, it hasn't happened since 2018, 2019. I guess the surprising, don't look at me like that, Deeks. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're going to win a Stanley Cup. I say the surprising part is that the last 2-3 seasons that they have struggled, they weren't below 500 at Christmas. And remember, that includes the 7-game losing streak that they had in a couple of years ago. But they've never finished below 500, not since the 2018-2019 season. They finished that season 14, 16, and 4. Don't look at me again, Deeks. I promise it's not the same record. It's not going to be the same outcome. It'd be nice if it was. But prior to that, it was also another 10-year window from the last time that they were 500 or below 500 at Christmas break. Prior to the 18-19 season, it was the 08-09 season that, remember, they had to go on that miraculous second-half run to get into the playoffs. And then after that, 06-07, 05-06, the back-to-back years that they selected first overall and fourth overall. Those are the last 4 times that the Blues were below 500 going into Christmas break. Now, a couple of them, they were at 500, like 2 seasons ago, they were at 500, but they missed out on that by not picking up that win against Tampa this evening. So just some numbers that I was looking at as the Blues fall to 14, 16, and 8. Let's hear from the captain, Braden Shen, with tonight's Soundbite of the Night.
The Soundbite of the Night is presented by Rocket Convenience Stores. Fuel your car and your daily cravings at Rocket Convenience Stores.
You know what? Tonight we played a good, well-structured team that got ahead on us early and gave us nothing. So we feel like we're building as a team. We're playing more consistent, but at the end of the day, tonight we weren't good enough, and we played a team that raised their level, and especially early on in the game, and they were able to capitalize on it.
Were those guys that sharp, or is there something you would have liked to have done?
No, I don't think we weren't that. I think we were, obviously they got some deflection goals and stuff like that where you can clean up, but Guys played hard tonight. Like I said, they just smothered us defensively. They're on top of us. Didn't make any mistakes, and that's why we had one goal.
Fun to see what Justin Falk's doing. I think he's tied now for your team lead in goals.
Yeah. You know what? He's playing good hockey. He's up in the rush. He's shooting a lot of pucks and, playing solid. He's getting rewarded. So, you know what? He's a guy that's always been solid as long as he's been in the Blue Note, and nice to see him get rewarded with some goals.
The schedule's been so compact. You guys played so many games. I think 11 games in the last 19 days. What will this break do for you guys?
First and foremost, a chance to reset and come on hungry after the break. Christmas is a special time. Holidays are a special time to sit back and, have times with friends and family. But this is a chance for us to have a mental reset, enjoy time with everyone, and then when the 27th hits, get ready to, go hard to Olympic break.
Yeah, there you go. I hope that's true. That's Braden Shen as he saw it tonight against this Lightning squad. And they're not wrong. I mean, Tampa did smother the hell out of the Blues this evening. And it is a good test to see, like, this is what the best looks like. And, it's an eye-opener for the entire team to say, like, look, if you want to be a top team in the National Hockey League, you have to play like this. Not only smothering, but also you have to play nearly perfect hockey. So again, that's Braden Shen with tonight's soundbite of the night. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into our final look. Typically, this is my impression of the game and moving forward with the Blues, but I know Christmas is a very special time for Chris Kerber, and he always has a special message for listeners and special memories for listeners going into the Christmas break. So we pulled the post-game breakdown, and we figured we wanted to put this with the final look to send everybody into the holiday break with a little positive mentality going into this Christmas season with your friends and family. So from Jordan Deacon, from myself, we just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Thank you all so much for listening in and being a part of these Blues broadcasts and interacting. We always love the interaction. I know it's been a rough start to the year. Hopefully they can end it on a positive note. So enjoy these 4 days off with your family and friends. Enjoy the time where you could just spend with people that you love. And we look forward to talking with you on Saturday when the Blues take on the Nashville Predators at 6 o'clock at Enterprise Center. So once again, from all of us, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Take a listen to our final look with Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale.
It's time to take a look back at tonight's game with the final look.
Driven by Pure Performance. Only stop for all your aftermarket vehicle needs.
All right, Alex, thank you very much. Well, Joe, the Blues gave up a goal 21 seconds into this game. They chased the game the rest of the way. And, unfortunately, it wasn't a perfect road trip, a solid one. I think more times than not, if you weren't chasing the standings, you're probably okay these days with a split in these kind of games with Florida and Tampa. But this is one where the Blues just were never able to get back level after giving up the early goal.
No, different games happen different ways. There's momentum swings in certain ones. I mean, look at the last one before tonight in Florida. You're up, you're down, they tie it, you bounce back, you have a great third after a late goal, and it's all over the place, and it's just back and forth, and it's exciting. And then there's a few games throughout the year that are like this, where you give up the first goal in the first shift, and then you give up another one, and you never close the gap. And that's really what happened here. The Blues made it a little bit interesting there in that second period, but then the Tampa Bay Lightning once again take off. So you lose by 3 here. 3 out of the 4 were tip goals. One went off your own player, and Justin Falk. That was a power play goal. And then the other 2 by Holmberg and then Cirelli. 2 tips right around the hash mark to get redirected and past Binnington. So you look at those 3 chances. The Tampa Bay Lightning did a really good job getting to the net. 2 tips from their own players, and even when you bring a body there, it could go off a defending guy, and it certainly did for St. Louis.
And fans are going to look at kind of the recent successes of Joel Hofer, some of the continued battling of Jordan Binnington. But these 2 games are almost perfect examples of style of plays impacting the play in front of the goaltender.
Oh, big time. I mean, you look at how quickly the identity shifts in the D zone from one game to another. That's the lack of consistency. That's what, Doug Armstrong, talked to a group of us, last week there, Curbs. And one of the things that stood out is we just don't know how to get back to ground zero when things start getting a little scattered. We don't know exactly who we are, what we are, and we can't find it consistently. You have one game a couple nights ago where, boy, it looks so good. And even the game before that against the Winnipeg Jets, you only allow 5 high-quality chances with Joel Hofer in the net when he gets that shutout. So then tonight, I think the Tampa Bay Lightning, they're a skilled team. They move the puck very well. But it's not a perimeter group. They find ways to get to the inside. They get the bodies and positioning to the middle. We saw the tips. We saw the bodies going there. Jordan Binnington, he really didn't look comfortable in the net ever since that first goal went in. Tampa, you also got to give them credit. The way they dumped the puck was exceptional. Interesting stanchions here in the Lightning arena here, and the way they put it up off the glass really allowed them to get on the forecheck. As Binnington really couldn't stop many pucks like we've seen Joel Hofer do over the last couple.
All right, Joe, you look at where they're at now. They came into this game 3 points out of a playoff spot. They got to wait for action as the team wraps up its schedule tomorrow. So coming into out of the Christmas break, a 4-day break for the Blues, they're going to either be 5 points back of a spot or they're going to be 3 points back of a spot. Those are two very different feels when you look at it. But the one thing that really seems to show is coming out of this, whether it be the power play that is struggling right now. I mean, having the fewest shot attempts per 2 minutes on the power play of any team in the league. The penalty killing in the last 6 games now dipped back below 75%. The attitude to get to the front of the net. Maybe you get a Snuggerud back, and then hopefully some of the other guys are coming back as well. But more so than just the players coming back into the lineup, you almost feel that 5-game push, which could really set the tone for how the Blues get into January coming out of this break, that 5-game push has really got to be about all attitude, doesn't it?
It does. It's got to be about attitude, Curbs. Let's be real. It's got to be about winning. You got to have a winning culture. It was the game before the Ottawa Senators a few weeks ago where we were talking to some hockey ops personnel, and they talked about starting from the bottom and building up and building winning culture, which is celebrating the little successes. The Blues, they end up winning that back-to-back with Ottawa, Montreal. It was a hard-fought game, hard-fought matches where there was physical, they were sticking up for each other, there were shots being blocked, there was forechecking, everyone was connected as a unit. That's the way for this team. That's really the only way you're going to find success, especially with the personnel you have out. This is a big break coming for St. Louis. Every team needs a break. This has been a very up-and-down year. They've dealt with a ton of injuries, a ton of emotions, and you're hoping this 4-day little reset could kind of get guys a clean slate, a fresh mindset, where that mindset could turn now to a different brand of hockey. Because let's be real, there's a different brand of hockey that's going to be demanded of them as they head into the post-Christmas now portion of the season. Below 500, it's not a great spot to be, and they know they have a lot of work cut out for them.
All right, so next up for the Blues, a 4-day Christmas break, and then a home game on the 27th of December. Joe, Merry Christmas, bud.
Merry Christmas.
Enjoy the family.
Can't wait, buddy. Looking forward to that. Merry Christmas to you and your whole family. Merry Christmas to all you Blues fans out there as well.
All right, so Alex, that'll nearly do it for us here at Benchmark International Arena. This Tampa Bay Lightning, they beat the Blues by a score of 4-1. And we wrap up our final broadcast before the Christmas holiday, kind of the same way we've done it every year, pretty much since 1996. You go back all the way to 1996, and I was dating my girlfriend, now my wife, but that Christmas, around that Christmas time, her mom passed away. The funeral was right before Christmas. Well, we got back from the funeral in Springfield, Massachusetts, and I was a mess. It was 3 years after my mom had passed away, and called my dad, and when talking to my dad, he says, well, what do you do for a living? And this is only about 10 minutes before puck was supposed to drop before game time. I go, I call a hockey game. He says, you talk. He goes, when you get on the air, just talk. Well, that's what we did. And we ended the game that time just talking. And I've done it in the final broadcast before Christmas every year since, because it's just a reminder, especially as the Kerber family will celebrate their first Christmas without Papa Lou or my father. It's one of those just gentle reminders that no matter what's going on, no matter what is maybe keeping the weight on you, no matter what stresses you're dealing with, or sometimes how negative things may feel around you, it's an opportunity just to remind everybody that's close to you or that you are close to what to think about them. Don't miss a chance. Don't miss an opportunity to tell them you love them. Don't miss an opportunity to just call and say hello. Don't just text. Pick up the phone, call. Take 5 minutes. Say hello to somebody. Make sure that you're talking to them. Let them know what they mean to you. It's just that time of the year. And yeah, something we can do throughout the whole year. But just a reminder to take a breather, pause, and let the loved ones in your family know how much you love them. Because the reality of it is, you never know if that could also be the last chance. So when you get that, and if you're feeling down, if it's feeling like you've got a struggle, talk to somebody, talk to a friend, call a family member, pick up the phone, let them know you're there, and let them know you care. And that is how we head into the holiday season. And I appreciate each and every one of you out there in Blues fandom land as we head into the Christmas break. Thanks for making us a part of your daily lives throughout these winter months. We'll see what the Blues do when we come out of the break. And to lift the spirits up a little bit, my favorite Christmas song from Neil Diamond, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Merry Christmas, everybody.
For listening to the First Community Credit Union Blues postgame show.
Presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company.